In this video, we'll talk about the respiratory regulation of acids and bases. In the last class, we talked about the first line of defense in acid-base regulation, which is the bicarbonate buffer system, and this bicarbonate buffer system acts within seconds of any pH changes. However, the bicarbonate buffer system, which you all know, has got certain disadvantages. The first one being that it has got a very limited buffering capacity, which means that whenever excessive amounts of acids and bases formed, they cannot neutralize. Thus, the bicarbonate buffer system must team up with the respiratory regulation system in order to achieve a better acid-base balance, and this respiratory system acts within hours or minutes of any change of pH. In this regard, the lungs plays a very important role in regulation of the acids and bases, and they do so through the generation of the important molecule called carbonic acid molecule. Now, the blood from the peripheral tissues contains carbon dioxide, and this then reacts with water to form a very important, the most important molecule called the carbonic acid. Coming back to the equation, the carbon dioxide reacts with water to form the carbonic acid molecule, and this is a bidirectional reaction, and this carbonic acid immediately dissociates into hydrogen ion and bicarbonate. This is again a bidirectional equation. Thus, what it means is that whenever carbon dioxides are increased in the body, there will be increase in the hydrogen ion, and this hydrogen ion, as we know, when there is increase, will lower the pH of the body. On the other hand, if any conditions leads to increased hydrogen ion, for example in metabolic acidosis, this hydrogen ion will react with the bicarbonate to form carbonic acid, and this carbonic acid again dissociates into water and formation of the carbon dioxide molecule. So whenever in any conditions leads to rise of carbon dioxide, condition called respiratory acidosis, or any condition which leads to rise of hydrogen ion, condition called metabolic acidosis, both these conditions will lower the pH, and this lowering of pH will have a major detrimental effects of body function if not adequately regulated and controlled. Fortunately, the lungs regulates this change of pH brought about by rise of carbon dioxide or fall of bicarbonate by acting to two important regulatory centers of the body. One, the peripheral chemoreceptors, which are present in the arc of the aorta and carotid bodies, and this responds to the changes in PCO2 and PO2 levels. The second being the central chemoreceptors. Now, where is central chemoreceptors present? It is present in the brainstem area, and what it does, it responds to the changes in the hydrogen ion concentration. So when PCO2 levels either increases or it decreases, so then what happens is that the peripheral chemoreceptors, which is already explained now, gets stimulated. So this gets stimulated when the PCO level increases or decreases, and this sends signals to the inspirited neurons in the brain stems and to alter the respiratory rate. But here is a catch: the changes in hydrogen ion in the blood cannot directly stimulate the brainstem neurons. Why? Because the blood-brain barrier is impermeable to the hydrogen ion concentration. Instead, the hydrogen ion in blood reacts with the bicarbonate to form the carbonic acid, and this carbonic acid immediately dissociates into carbon dioxide and water. Now the carbon dioxide penetrates the blood-brain barrier to reach the CSF, which stimulates the inspiratory neurons. In short, whenever the PCO2 rises in the body, a condition called respiratory acidosis, or whenever the hydrogen ion increases to such an extent that it overwhelms the first line of defense of the acid base, the bicarbonate buffer system, this will lead to a condition called the metabolic acidosis. In both this condition, the central and peripheral chemoreceptors get stimulated, and this sends signals to the inspiratory neurons which are present in the brainstem. And what does it will do? The brainstem will, after getting the signal, will increase the respiratory rate of the body. The increased respiratory rate will in turn cause the washout of carbon dioxide, and this will decrease the level of carbon dioxide, and this condition is called hyperventilation. The decrease in the level of carbon dioxide will lead to the decreased formation of the carbonic acid, and this decreased formation of carbonic acid will lead to decreased level of hydrogen ion, and then when there is a low hydrogen ion, it will ultimately cause the rise of pH. Similarly, when pH decreases or hydrogen increases, a condition called alkalosis, this will again stimulate the central and peripheral chemoreceptors, which will again send signal to the brainstem. Now, what will the brainstem do? Now, the brainstem will, after getting the signal, will decrease the respiratory rate of the body, and this condition leads to a condition called hypoventilation. The decreased respiratory rate will lead to retention of carbon dioxide, leading to an increased level of the PCO2, and whenever there is an increased level of PCO2, this will lead to an increased level of blood pH, and this is how the respiratory regulatory system regulates both extremes of pH change. However, there is a limitation of the respiratory system in regulating acids and bases, which is that the lungs cannot increase or decrease respiratory rate for a long time and gets fatigued within a very short period of time. Hence, the respiratory system has got these limitations that it cannot keep on indefinitely compensating these acid-base imbalances. However, there is a limitation of the respiratory system in regulating acids and bases, which is that the lungs cannot increase or decrease respiratory rate for a long time and gets fatigued within a very short period of time. Hence, the respiratory system has got these limitations that it cannot keep on indefinitely compensating these acid-base imbalances, till the final and strongest compensation is taken over by the kidneys, and this kidneys works for hours to days in regulating the acids and bases. If you like this video, leave a comment and please subscribe to my channel.